There are various rumors about the possibility of Last of Us Part 3, but the real question is, do we really need another Last of Us game? The Last of Us itself was a game changer with the level of storytelling it provided, and everybody who played that game loved it. It went on winning so many awards and most importantly won so many people's heart. The Last of Us Part 2, however, gave a different kind of story that people were not expecting. Something that the creators wanted to try and wanted to take a risk, and despite its unfortunate leaks, many people hated the way the story was presented. So there's this sort of division with the Last of Us franchise where some people want to see another Last of Us thing, whereas some people do not even want Neil Druckmann to be a part or Naughty Dog to be a part of the Last of Us franchise. While there's no denying to the fact that the gameplay of Last of Us Part 2 was solid and definitely a hell of an improvement from the Last of Us game, but many fans believe that Naughty Dog is now just milking this franchise by doing so many stuff about The Last of Us. The Last of Us got a remake on a PS5 last year and now it's coming on PC on March 3rd. This remake was also hated upon since many believed it wasn't needed. The remake, however, has a major quality difference, but it didn't have much gameplay difference. That kind of created a negative impact on the players because they wanted that improvement that Last of Us Part 2 had. Last of Us is also getting a TV show later this month, which is looking very wonderful and I cannot wait to watch it. But yes, we have seen a lot of Last of Us since 2022 and that is not exactly a bad thing. It shows how much people really enjoy and love this franchise. And even though many believe that Last of Us remake was a cash grab, I feel like having a Last of Us remake in a PC platform where a lot of people who don't have a PlayStation will get to play it is a great option. Also, many believed at the time when Last of Us came out in 2013 that this could easily turn into a movie, and now it is being turned into a series. With the Last of Us franchise reaching over 37 million sales till 2022, it makes sense for them to make yet another game. Last year, viewer Anon on Twitter posted that The Last of Us Part 3 is currently under production in Naughty Dog. However, Neil Druckmann sort of debunked that by saying not to believe insider info as much of it is false. Also in 2021, Neil Druckmann explained in Script Apart podcast that he and co-writer Haley Gross have an outline prepared for The Last of Us Part 3. However, he did mention how Naughty Dog is not working on it at the moment, but do hope that their idea can see the light of day. Neil also mentioned how it takes time, a lot of time, to create a Last of Us game, and it should feel challenging to even make it. Recently, Neil Druckmann also talked in an interview talking about The Last of Us TV show that there is more story to tell in The Last of Us world. Also, Neil Druckmann has added in the bio of his Twitter account saying Naughty Dog co-president, Last of Us HBO, Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, Uncharted 4, and that future game. No one knows what that future game is, but it's kind of clear that they are working on a brand new game, but it could be possible that they're working on a brand new IP or Last of Us Part 3. All of these small tidbits and bits kind of direct us to a new Last of Us game. However, as Neil mentioned, it takes a hell of a long time to create something as ambitious because the expectations is way up there. But if Last of Us Part 3 is made, there is so much to tell with the story of these characters. We know that Tommy and Ellie by the end of Last of Us Part 2 are not exactly on the same page, and the same can be said for Dina and Ellie. We don't know where Dina went, but it's quite possible that she went back to Jackson, similar to Tommy. Abby and Lev by the end of the game were together and went towards what seems like another Firefly group, so we don't know what their situation is going to be, how their story is going to progress. As for Ellie, everything is just destroyed for her, so it could be possible that she chooses a completely different life and move along by herself, or possibly goes back to Jackson and try to clear things with Dina and Tommy. When Last of Us ended, there was no clear indication on whether a Last of Us Part 2 will be made, and then we got The Last of Us Part 2. And similarly, we don't have a clear indication by the end of Last of Us Part 2 that there is going to be a Part 3. The only difference here is that Neil Druckmann already had an idea with Last of Us Part 2 as he was shooting Last of Us, but the same cannot be said for Last of Us Part 3 because they made an outline after Last of Us Part 2 got released. In the end, do we need a Last of Us Part 3? I would say yes, because there's so much more story that can be told with the characters that we know. They can also introduce new characters just like they did in Last of Us Part 2. But in the end, they should only make this game when they have a crystal clear idea of what they want to show. As we all know, Last of Us Remake is also coming to PC, but that's not the only remake that is coming this year. Check this video out to know all you need to know about this particular remake.